Turbo. What are we going to do in today's video? Before we gotta go, we're going to take this thing apart. It's a 67.9. That's not too old. Tell because the cover castings change. So this is a less old one. Someone made a mess of it, especially with it not being old. See all the oil bits. This is what happens when you surge them. This one, I'm pretty sure the shaft is broken. We'll get into it. So the compressor is not actually what failed. The turbo wheel failed because it got surged. And when it got surged, got out of sync, turbo and the compressor, and when you do that, you can see it on the balancer, they vibrate. So, and it doesn't fail instantaneously. What they do is they surge and it gets out of alignment. And then down the road at some point, when you're just doing nothing, just cruising, doing it, innocent stuff, they break. And then you're like, oh, the turbo failed. And I wasn't doing anything. Well, it didn't fail when you weren't doing anything. It actually failed when you surged it at some point. And then it wasn't actually broken yet. Then it vibrates for a while, and then eventually the resonant frequency causes the turbine wheel itself to fail because Inconel does not like vibrations, just like aluminum doesn't, and it breaks. So let's take it apart and check it out.
Hello. Okie dokie. Let's get this thing apart. Oh, it has the wrong nut on it.
So someone lost the jam nut
At some point. Not too tight for a 60, but definitely on the tight enough side where you could surge it pretty easily if you're not careful. Yeah, the housing's not even rusty. This thing's pretty new. This is not the nut that I sent them with. Send them with the jam nut. These are all the tightness they're supposed to be. Oh, should want this apart. Actually, it's 45 over, then kicking over this way. This thing's on a first gen, is what it's on. I betcha this thing's on a non-intercooled first gen.
Look at the clocking.
So this is how it would sit. Obviously it's mirrored. That's oil feed vertical. I bet you this thing's on a non-intercooled first gen. Just even more fantastic. That's probably why. So you see the surge, because the VE pump spool turbo is pretty good, and then you let off of them and surge them, and typically I just remember when I had my first diesel, it was a first gen, and I thought the coolest thing in the world was just the bejesus out of it. And I searched the crap out of my truck. And I did. I eventually killed H1C. But this didn't die because of a thrust bearing issue. This is dead. Because, I mean, the good news is they put snap-ring back in the right way, because if they didn't, I would have blown the cover off before it did this. Let's get it apart to where we can clean the covers. Maybe I can show you the inside. This thing's gonna be, I bet you the back side of this thing's straight blendered. You guys look at the seal. What I call blendered. Because the turmoil is so heavy, when it breaks off the tip like it does, this thing goes absolutely ballistic. I mean, when we balance them and remove material, the amount of material that gets removed off the compressor versus what gets removed off the turbine wheel, night and day different. Oop, that was a pinful, huh? Yeah. Blendered. Oh man. At least I can turn this housing into a villain housing. It is shot. Oh. Not that it matters if it is on a non-recooled first gen. It's gonna make so much heat that you can do with it's not gonna make power anyways. It's pretty decently blended. Here's all the pieces. I'm gonna clean up for the mess, trying to keep my table kinda clean. So see the groove? That groove is supposed to look like that. Very nice, very nice. I have worse in the back. Basically, this guy got lucky and it broke the bottom off. Actually, it is broken. So this rear bearing carriage, it might still be supported. They break farther up on the shaft, it'll blender the back of this and it'll knock this entire section out. As far as what it looks like, so as destroyed as this thing is, see this guy right here? This one right there, that piece missing, that is a vibration failure. And they all look exactly the same. And how that happens is you surge them. So, probably gonna get ready to go, but you surge them and they get out of bounds and they vibrate, and then down the road you'll just be doing anything, and the harmonic frequency resonates off the very edge of this tip. You'll get a perfectly good one. So it's in the HX version, but this very tip is basically where it bounces off the edge of this and then travels backwards, and then the vibration comes this way, that way, and it oscillates. And if it oscillates at the right frequency, it causes them to do this. This square break right here. See that? And the top blade? And they all look exactly the same. It's the craziest thing. Guess you finally end up doing enough turbochargers where you start to see it and it isolates it. It's normally only delegated to turbos that spool. I shouldn't say turbos. Injection systems that spool quickly paired with trans tuning that has a very low converter lockup speed, or short shifting manuals will do this every time. And at first I was worried it was a metallurgical issue, but that kind of goes out the window when you do everything exactly the same, whether it's an HX or an HE, And the only ones that are having issues, given it's the same housing just with a different bolt insert, is the AGs. I shouldn't say they're the only ones, but they're the main ones. And that's when I started looking at the injection systems and the TransTune. It did end up being that. Yeah, this thing.
It is shot. Thrust spring might actually.
Should be okay though. Should see. Conch cover is savable. Turbine housing. Mind you, this wheel is dead, so we don't get the crap. But it is worth checking to see if the thrust bearing is still good. Just what that was that. Ooh, what? Yeah. Oh. This is a balanced unit. I don't see any stretching, though it was not an overspeed issue. Just a vibration issue. Yeah, so no, there's no stretching or anything on the back side. Check those back plates. Look for stretch marks. There you go. There's your shaft. This is a good time to show you that they don't break at the small part. I mean, they do, and when they break up here at the small part, it's when they get surged so hard that it twists this in half. But when you have a failure at the backside, on this one, the vibration failure that occurred because it got surged, and then they break, and that thing went sideways so fast. This is a welded piston ring seal to here. The thing went sideways and so out of balance so fast, it just locked up that rear seal and just twisted it right there. Next thing we can look at, so you can look at the bottom of the compressor wheel and this plate right here, the upper thrust collar. I don't know if this comes through on the camera or not.
But you can see the fretting.
And if you look up, mainly you look for fretting inside of motors, but you can actually see fretting, and it looks exactly the same on turbochargers. Doesn't matter what turbo it is. If it's doing it, you can see it when you take them apart. So check them out. And that's what it looks like. I've had one. I had an S300 that was fretted so bad it welded itself together. It was pretty wild. Yeah, this is grooved out. This won't even come out. Oh, truss is damaged. Can't ever get that right. Darn. Oh well. Give it a shot. Pull the C-clips out of it. And throw everything else away. Unless anybody wants broken turbo parts, let me know. Got plenty. S300s, 35s, 351s, S4s. Cool old stuff. So, if you enjoyed this little video, and you get these housings cleaned up, probably have to put it in a new turbine housing because it's done. It failed at speed. Didn't get that lucky. So, thanks for watching.